Good evening from Turkey. Today is the 30th of May, 2025. This month's last English, second actually, last and second English video in my English channel. Of course, I'm accumulating some of the new information and then passing it on to you as they accumulate, and there's a worthwhile summary of the events. So basically, where are we right now? As you know, when President Trump started the Liberation Day recently, let's say, although it's been extended and shortened and on and off and on and off, and there was some reporter who asked to Trump, and he got very mad. He said, "You are a taco. Taco is a Trump always chickens out." That's the acronym for the taco, for the Trump always chickens out. As they start pressuring, well, it's a tactic for maybe for bargaining, but that's how people react. Once you bargain and start giving some concessions, they probably get on top of you and say you are chickening out. So right now, as they are changing with countries, as they are responding with collateral, let's say, tariffs, we are not. Nobody knows how the future will show, because and the investing people, the private sector, don't know what to do. So everybody is in a situation of, undecided, and similar is happening in Turkey right now. The, Today there was an article from a headhunter company stating that people who are being kicked out of businesses, they are not being replaced currently, not knowing what the future is showing for them. So they are not hiring for people who are leaving or quitting. So coming back to the situation in the US, recently today, I will read this to you from Trump's channel directly. He said in a tweet message today, "So much for being Mr. Nice Guy. 2 weeks ago, China was in grave economic danger. The very high tariff I set made it virtually impossible." It's beautiful. It's beautiful to trade into United States marketplace, which is by far number one in the world. Yes, but not everything. It's only 20-30% of the Chinese market. We went, in effect, cold turkey with China. That means it's not Turkey. He's not mentioning about country Turkey. Cold turkey means the gobble gobble turkey, and cold means the relations became cold. For Turkish listeners, I'm explaining this. So they became cold turkey with China, and it was devastating for them. So he thinks China was devastated by this tariffs, because all their production lines stopped and many factories closed, and there was, to put it mildly, civil unrest. So he says the people revolted in China, and I saw what was happening and didn't like it for them, not for us. So he said, "I was not going to end this tariff war, but I was, pitying you, so I helped you, and that's why I lifted." So I made a fast deal with China in order to save them from what I thought was going to be a very bad situation, and didn't want to see that happen. Because of this deal, everything quickly stabilized. Actually, I like Trump's tweets. They're to kindergarten 3 level. They're not the politically high level words used, just like person talking to each other, very basic language. That's good. Because of this deal, everything quickly stabilized and China got back to the business as usual. Everybody was happy. That's the good news. The bad news is that China, perhaps not surprisingly to some, has totally violated its agreement with us. So he said China just didn't apply the results of the latest agreement, let's say. So there was never an agreement, actually, but okay, they thought there was an agreement. So finally, today, the fire flared again on a Friday. So now it's a Saturday and Sunday. So it's a golf time in Mar-a-Lago. So we'll see what's happening again when he comes back from Sunday evening, and let's see with what kind of ideas they will come. Actually, Scott Bessent was also giving a speech about this. So I will summarize that as well when I make a small list of the events just happened. So let's just highlight some of the things that I reported. Okay, the U.S. planning wider technology sanctions. This is 18 minutes ago. This came brand new. So they're escalating the tariff war. U.S. is planning wider technology sanctions on China with a wider crackdown on subsidiaries. So again, the war just got flared on a Friday night fever. Okay, and there is a guy saying sovereign debt is not a reserve asset anymore. Actually, countries buying United States bonds. What are bonds? Bonds are debt issued papers, the debt papers. But countries who are depositing U.S. treasuries used to say them they are their assets. Now, how can you make an asset of something which is melting away? So basically, it is melting away. One ounce of gold was $35. Now it's almost $3,300. I know we've seen $3,500, but so it melted away like 100 times. So you cannot keep a reserve of something that's melting away, as fast as snow. So anyway, one guy, which is Daniel Lacalle, he's saying sovereign debt is not a reserve asset anymore. In fact, Germany is scared. 1/3 of Germany's gold is in the United States, in New York. So some German, let's say, politicians are saying we must get back our gold as quickly as possible back from United States. But this has been there since the Cold War with Russia to protect some of their gold in the U.S. Well, they gave it to the U.S. So now they are arguing, fighting with each other. In fact, today the Prime Minister Merz of Germany said that they are thinking of putting a 10% tariff tax on all the Google, Facebook, all those channels. So it's a collateral tariff, customs tariff war going on between not just China and USA. That's why I put the flags on the balloons. The European Union, the total European Union, they made a deal with England, but they don't have much commerce with the UK anyway, United Kingdom. So India is also reported to say, let me read it to you from India. Okay. I'm reading the other ones. Yes. India, this is from Bloomberg News 5 hours ago. India plans to press the US to drop all tariffs imposed on April 2, taking a firmer stance as legal challenges mount against Trump's trade policy. As you know, just yesterday, events are developing so fast. One court in the U.S. ruled that Trump cannot create customs tariffs by himself. He's not authorized. Then a higher court said, no, he can. So I'm not applying the stop on these tariffs things of Trump. So he will go ahead and continue. However, now it's going to go to the Supreme Court of the United States. We don't know how quick a decision can be made in Supreme Court on a commercial issue. So maybe legal issue. It's a right to make that decision. They are saying this cannot be made by Trump. This can only be made by sneezing. Okay. There are cats in the room, so sometimes it's normal for me to sneeze strong. Sorry. Okay. So basically, that's how the Supreme Court will decide what will happen. And currently, it's just on a continuation phase. So we will see the fight going on bilaterally between India, USA, China, USA. Maybe we haven't been hearing from India and Canada. Canada recently said, I will never accept your proposal to be the security of Canada, free security for Canada, to be part of, to become another state of United States. That's a megala idea, we call it in Europe, megala idea of Trump to get Greenland and Canada and everything. I wonder why he doesn't want Mexico. All the illegal aliens are coming from Mexico. So if Mexico comes the 53rd, 55th state, maybe then he doesn't have to worry about the illegal aliens. So it will be part of his state. Actually, they are already in California. Many Hispanics are probably making about maybe the 1/10 of the population of the U.S. anyway, but they are legal aliens. So now, today I heard that the court made a ruling that 500,000 aliens will be deported due to the decision of the appeal court. This is also brand new news. So things are developing very quickly, actually. Uh, US canceled 24 projects related to clean energy. They want dirty energy because the fossil producers are very good friends from Texas, of the president as well. US stock market futures fell today, 4 hours ago. They were down about one sixth of a percent, 1/7 of a percent on S&P, so less than 1%. Basically, and small cap Russell was zero point 0.9, 90 basis points was down. So actually, all of them across were minus, all the stock exchanges in the US. Goods import today came 4 hours ago. They fell by almost 20%, 19.8. That means 1/5 of the imports of the US fell, but still the growth is going on. How does this happen? You are not importing anything, but growth is increasing because they already imported, thinking that he's going to stop importing things already in December and January, so February. So now they have enough backup to use for during this term. So that's why even importations dropped about 20%. There is still availability. Also on the cars issue, now there is a problem in second-hand cars. They are becoming less and less findable, let's say, not affordable, less and less. You cannot find second-hand cars. That's why even rent-a-car companies' values went up, and some people invested in rent-a-car companies because they have a lot of second-hand cars, which are like gold right now. You can't find second-hand cars because during this trade wars, it's going to get even worse. You can't import from any of these countries, Mexico, Canada, China, Turkey, maybe. Turkey also sent some cars to USA. Some of the New York City cabs were from Turkey, I know. So electric cabs of Fords also are going from here. Well, at the moment, until they move to Egypt, like all the textiles did. On another issue in Turkey, today we had the president of Turkey mentioning that I will continue fighting this interest rates. Because why did he brought this up suddenly? Because it was an Islamic conference, second Islamic conference. So in Islamic conferences, you talk against interest rates. Although Turkey is the highest interest rate applying in country, it's no problem. You can say it, once a day. So, but some of the people in the stock exchange took it seriously. and they said, "Oh no, they are coming back with this, Muslim type of applications, like they did in the past." So reducing the interest rates just to be looking nice to their voter base, but uh, exactly the opposite of what they are doing. But as I said, it's a conference, and politicians and conferences, they cannot always tell what they really feel and what they really apply. They just please the people in the meeting, okay, saying that we hate interest rates. I will fight till the end. How are you fighting till the end with the interest rates when they're at 50%? And all the world is doing carry trade to Turkey because the interest rates are extremely high. Well, you have to be a politician, just to talk in that ease, because none of the reporters can ask, this is not USA. You cannot say, Trump, you are chickening out, So, well, that's the situation. We cannot change it. Basically, are there any other news? Let me go back and tell you. Chinese stocks fell in Hong Kong after U.S. Treasury Scott Bessent said trade talks between the world's two economies are a bit stalled. This was before Trump's announcement. So he made the first fireworks. Then the fireworks started going everywhere. And some people are saying that reporter shouldn't have told Trump that you are a Taco Bell, so taco, chicken out to his face. So now he had to prove that he's not chicken. He started talking about turkey, cold turkey. Okay, it's all on avians, birds, flu, bird, avian flu, this and that. It's all about birds. Even the Fed meetings, they're all about birds. They're about pigeon or being a hawkish or pigeonish, whatever. Anyway, so I just want to wrap up this section, both telling you about the U.S. and the world situation. Fighting is going on. Even I tried to tell the computer program to make a drawing in artificial intelligence. I said, two countries fighting. Said, I'm not allowed to do a drawing on that. They are competing. I'm not allowed to do a drawing. So I did it myself with the balloons. Okay. So, and they are not accepting all kinds of, things that you tell them to draw. They are limited. I'm not limited. Okay. I hope you all enjoy your time, your day, your month, because tomorrow is the 31st of May, last day of May. We had a very long spring in Turkey. It was unusual. Like mostly in Izmir, you will see a lot of summer coming directly after May. But this year, the month of May was with rains and everything, cold at nights. Even today, I'm looking from the window. It's still cloudy in Izmir, and it's raining. And it's cloudy but yellow, because those are the desert sands coming from Africa, from the Arab that's running from the polar bear. The unlucky Arab in the desert running from the polar bear. So that's how it happens, unexpected. You call it black swan event. We call it polar bear event in the desert. Okay, so that's the Turkish way of telling that you are unlucky. A very unlucky Arab. Is meeting with a will meet with a polar bear in the desert. So this is how we are living in the economy today, with polar bears, not beers. So anyway, I was in Istanbul yesterday. For people watching in English, I bought a house because again we made enough cash collection through gold. Gold evaluated extremely well. Although U.S. dollar only increased with the pressures from the country to draw in foreign currency, they are pressuring U.S. dollar so that it doesn't go out. Because foreign currency is very scared. If they get caught while in Turkey with a devaluation, they would never come back again. They are making enough profit, so They are temporarily putting their foreign currency in Turkey. So if suddenly US dollar goes to 45, 50 TL from 38, 39 TL, they will never come back. They will take their dollars and go away. Although most of them are mustache foreigners, as we call the Turkish investors living out of Turkey, So they are given some sort of a guarantee, probably, that there won't be such a case of sudden devaluation. That's why today the markets dropped in Turkey, saying, are they changing? Are we going to have a sudden devaluation or some, religious event which will bring the taxes down? We already lived through this, so this is not a surprise for anyone anymore. It may take for some time, but that's not resulting good suddenly. Then it becomes a completely opposite situation, because you cannot run a windmill even with a ventilator, or you cannot run the water mill with carried water in buckets. This is the Turkish way also. Taşıması. Değirmen dönmez. The water mill will not turn with the bucket water. Okay, so that's not going to work for too long. The leverage, the US dollar pressure, that won't work too long either. We know that it's going to skip suddenly by explosion. We'll see how long they can. They are paying the highest amount of interest just to draw in some foreign currency, and they just spending it with political issues, and they are just running away when a political event happens to opposition. So we recently lost about $60 billion, which was paid very high price to bring in. Now they are reaccumulating. They are back to 30, 25 until the next event when it will be lost again. So, but okay, it's going and coming back, but always with an extremely high cost. Okay, unfortunately, there is nothing we can do at the moment. They are elected, and they are causing all this problem. And half of the people are not even aware what's happening to their grandsons and granddaughters, that they will have to pay, not just them, their grandsons, granddaughters will pay very high price. Today, there is a strike in Turkey, municipality in Izmir. And during the strike, the workers are asking for 80,000 TL minimum. Don't worry about the number. And the mayor or municipal mayor of Izmir is saying, even the mayor of the country, the cities are getting only 70,000. How can just a municipality worker, garbage collector, this and that, we can pay 80,000 TL? Well, today also another announcement came. The basis poor level in Turkey, not hunger level. Hunger level is around 25,000 TL. Poor, to be counted poor, you have to make 82,000 TL. So the problem is the city mayors are in the poor situation. Both of these talks happened just today, So the workers are asking more money than the mayors of the cities. And so that's the situation. Everybody is poor. So that's what I exactly told you. Rich people create rich people. Poor people create poor people. So this is a vicious circle. Okay, let's get out of the vicious circle. Start collecting money and deposit them in gold, and then once we have enough to accumulate it, let's use that as a deposit towards buying a house with a mortgage, although it's also blocked after the first house in Turkey. Then there are ways. We are trying to get around it, there are ways, but just made it difficult, basically. Like yesterday, when I bought a house through the real estate person, I didn't want to make it as an advertisement, but he said he has many houses which are on 36-month installments. You just pay half of the money and 36 months, and not very expensive, like 6-7 million ish, And they give you the title the day you pay the money. You don't have to wait till the house is completed to get your title. So that's some sort of security. At least they give you the land, until they build the house. Well, basically, people are trying to find this type of solutions to run the construction. Today also the growth numbers of Turkey came in. The agriculture is down, industrialization is down, minus in the first quarter. Two things are still high. Construction is high. Uh, well, don't bother the other one. And people are saying this is not the way to get developed. Well, China developed with 80% of construction, house construction. But of course, then you can use technology and other things. But as I said, growth can be, it's funny because even if a government gets a loan and makes roads and bridges with a loan, it's still considered growth. Unfortunately, that's how we are growing, non edible, non eatable investments. Okay, so I hope this helps for the end of the month. We'll see what happens in June during holiday, but don't forget the motto: sell in May, go away. Okay. Uh, Come back when? In September. I will find a motto for September as well. But for May, it's set. Sell in May, go away. Okay. And May is ending tomorrow. See you all later on. Bye bye.